This AdventHealth 400 Betting Picks edition of the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Underdog just launched their new ladders game where you can win up to 500 times your entry. Plus, when you use promo code RACESGPN, you can get up to $1,000 in bonus cash. We're also brought to you by Edge Boost, the bank account built for bettors. Sign up today at edgeboost.bet with promo code SGPN and get a $25 match deposit bonus.
Start your engine!
Strap in and pull those belts up tight as the Sports Gambling Podcast Network presents the NASCAR Gambling Podcast.
I'm just gonna put my foot on the floor and I'm not lifting till I see God or a checkered flag.
My man.
With all the news and the best bets for your NASCAR weekend.
We want to thank you tonight for these mighty machines that you brought before us. Thank you for the Dodges and the Toyotas. Thank you for the Fords. Lord, I want to thank you for my smoking hot wife tonight, Lisa. In Jesus' name, boogity, boogity, boogity.
Now, here are your hosts, Rod Villagomez and Cody Zeeb.
Welcome in to another episode of the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. He's Cody Zeeb. I'm Rod Villagomez. And ladies and gentlemen, we are in Kansas this weekend. Dorothy and Toto rejoice as we will be rejoining the Kansas Speedway for the spring race where, Cody, I have a feeling that you're more excited about than the rest of us because you get to be there again this year.
Yes, let's go. I will be at Kansas Speedway this weekend. So if you're going to be there, hit me up. Try and run into a few people. Be there Saturday evening for the truck race and Sunday for the cup race. Super excited about that. It's going to be a really good time.
It will be a really good time. We already got the chat blowing up. We haven't even been in here for a couple of minutes and the chat's already blowing up. King saying, nobody is going to agree with me, but I woke up this morning with the feeling.
Your friend.
I say this is the week the 54 gets it done. It's time. Y'all can mock me next week.
If I can be in victory lane with Ty Gibbs this weekend, Rod, oh my goodness, it would be perfect. He didn't make my outright card. I will mention that, but probably going to end up betting on him by Sunday because I'd like to be there in person to watch that bet cash.
You know, I will root with you this week. I don't have him obviously in my betting card either, so I'll root with, I'm not trying to root against him, so I'll root for him in this instance. Cousin Danny. Hi, Cousin Dan. I have a Cousin Danny. Are you my Cousin Danny? Cousin?
Maybe it is.
Oh, maybe it is. He's got 2 winner bets already, Christopher Bell and any Ford. Whoa. We're dealing out there.
You might have like Ford at 3-1 to win. I seriously looked at it. There is a lot of Fords. We're going to talk about it throughout the show. Very, very impressed with the Ford speed we've seen here recently. So I don't hate that. The Bell thing, that any week you could go with him. He's hard to pinpoint at some tracks like this specifically, but the Ford thing I do like.
Oh, wait, is Cousin Danny, are you Marcus? Because I know Marcus loves him some Christopher Bell all over the place. So we may have to check Cousin Danny's identity. Rye Cape saying, how are we feeling, fellas? Hey, I'm feeling good.
Gonna be at the racetrack this weekend. Can't feel much better than that.
Indeed. Cousin Danny also saying Cody rode the Dente all the way to the poorhouse.
No, I want to apologize because I was absolutely fucking right that it was Carson Hocevar weekend. I just gave out the wrong bets. To win the pole, God, that would have been such a big bet. To have the fastest lap, he did both of those things. I just didn't give out the right bets, but I was 100% correct. It was Carson Hocevar weekend. Apologize for giving out the wrong stuff on him, but that Dente was feeling good for a while until it dentate into the wall.
Until it got dentated. I do not dance on people's graves. Not going to do it. Not going to do it. It's not the person I am. I just know that was a rough go of it for him. But also, there were a lot of people that aren't very thrilled with Carson Hocevar and the way he races. So I'm just going to say he's not making any friends out there at all.
You don't need friends, Rod.
Apparently you don't, right? I was going to say, if you want to get slammed into the wall, you don't need friends for that. Brian saying, sorry to break it to you, Marcus, but Bella's been very mid, qualifying at 1.5 this season. Holy Jesus, we got so many great people in the chat. Let's hit a couple more before we go and start breaking down the race. Ash across the pond, evening lads. Alex Bowman, top 5, top 10. I know we'll talk about that
all this later. Calm down.
New face in here, Charles. Had a few tickets on McDowell, 100 to 1 on Sunday. Art's never raced that hard before.
Oof.
Yeah.
Oh, that was looking good.
Indeed. John Ray, Tyler Reddick wins in Kansas. We'll talk there. JDK, afternoon, fellas. Okay. Got all that.
Cousin
stuff.
Danny has sent in his identification. Neither Marcus nor your cousin. But welcome, Cousin Danny. We're glad to have you here. And King is now offering me money to steal things from Ty's car in Victory Lane this weekend, which we'll see. Maybe it happens.
That's fun. Go ahead and lose your credential privileges for trying to steal something off. Steal the win sticker off a Ty Gibbs car. That's what you want to do. But you know what you don't have to steal is any of our content. It is all completely free, my friends. There is no pirating. There is no anything, because we give all of our picks, all of our podcasts for free, not just this one, but all of them across the SGPN network. And if you want easy access to every single one of those, all you got to do, it's right here on this little phone of yours, right? Well, maybe not this one. This one's mine. But you can download it on the SGPN app. So make sure you do all that. Get it in the App Store or wherever you find all of your apps today.
If you saw Rod's Android, please don't turn away. I have an iPhone. One of us is up to date in the world. He's just old. Just forgive him.
I'll tell you right now. I'm going to tell you what I told my kids. Android does everything an iPhone does, and it doesn't make you mad because it's all not user-friendly. So
you say so, Rod. You say so.
I do. Hey, get off my lawn. All right. You know I'm a grandpa already. All I need is just one less emoji in this world. Yeah. Anyways. All right. In Kansas. Obviously, last week happened, right? Well, I wish we could have a
Did it happen, Rod?
I don't know, Cody. Sometimes when I look at the betting card, did it or not?
It was a weekend. It was a weekend, I guess. The truck race was insane. Some crazy stuff there. It felt like all weekend we had really good bets that definitely had shots. Things just didn't quite pan out. Xfinity, though, like top 10s, we cashed both Burtons. There's another one that cashed. Like, that was a pretty good day. And Larson just ends up winning it, but that's kind of what we saw anyways. Sunday, again, like Hocevar starting on the pole. You can't ask for much more for a long shot car lift anyways. Obviously, that didn't end great, but we were right there. Ty Dillon 2 spots away from cashing our top 10. Like, just so many things. I tried to fade Joey Logano again, hardest driver in the garage to figure out. He goes to Victory Lane, so shout out to him. But yeah, whatever.
The thing about that race altogether, right? The Cup race is that it was, and I'm pretty sure that people are going to say that it was not a good race because there were, a lot of things that happened.
I'm curious what the Gluck poll was on that. Actually, I'm going to pull that up because
I didn't hate it. Let's put it
I
down.
heard a lot of reaction that people weren't too, especially for like, you got to go into Texas with a low bar for expectations because we've had some pretty shitty races there recently. But let's see. Jeez, Gluck, you tweet too many things. 51% for Texas. That's I think that the lowest 2 races in this poll's history are at Texas, and they were like 12 and 14%. So if you can get half of the people to agree on something, Rod,
I guess right nowadays,
we'll take it.
Yeah. Well, what I will say is that we knew that the fastest car on the track was going to be Tyler Reddick lap after lap after lap. That was actually a fun little market that we got into, and had Tyler Reddick with the most fast laps. So Look, and I told you too, it doesn't matter who wins, doesn't matter who's in victory lane at the end of it. That was 7-1. In fact, it was 5-1 when I gave it out on the back road the next day. So it was already hammered down quite a bit at that point. Oh, I know, 10-1 when I gave it on this show, 750 when I gave it out on the back road. So yeah, people had already hammered it down. So hopefully you got in on that one.
Yeah, and the experts suck saying, make me believe 12 cautions is a good race. That's where it's like, what is a good race? What's your definition of a good race? Like, I think it was Denny Hamlin I heard making this point on his podcast where it was like, did you know who the winner was going to be until the very end? No. So, did you like this, or did you like Kyle Larson leading 475 laps at Bristol? Like, obviously, you probably want something in the middle. I get it. But which one's better? Like, this one had a lot of the elements of strategy came into play multiple times. Track position did matter. Tires seemed to matter somewhat, right? Some people like McDowell could get away with it. Guys like Chase Elliott couldn't on the 2 tires. There was really fast cars that couldn't do much with it. There were fast cars, like you get up front, but you had damage. There was enough things kind of going on throughout the day that that's where it's hard to me. Like, what is a good race? And I get it. Like, we would just want 43 cars battling side by side and slide job and like, you're not going to get that every week, but you're also not going to get a good football game every time either. Sometimes one team blows the other team out. Like, I don't know. I didn't think it was a horrible race, but again, you're never going to make everybody happy, as we can see by these Gluck polls.
No, that is absolutely the truth. And honestly, too, that's one of the biggest arguments with a lot of race fans and Formula One, when it turns into just a conveyor belt race, when it turns into lap after lap, after nobody passing, after nobody doing any sort of overtaking. You're either waiting for the pit cycles to go through, or you're waiting for, tire management to end. Like, there's a lot of things that, if you are a casual race fan, you tend to focus on the fact that, there's not enough passing in this, but you're not paying attention to, all right, well, look, when was the last time that you got a pit stop? When do you have to pit? When is your tire going to fall off? And that brings the rest of the field together. How many of these guys are just kind of riding along and waiting until lap 45, or 455 to make their move? Like, there's so much it's chess. It's not checkers.
Yeah. Yeah, and yeah, like Brian's saying, entertainment value was good for the fans. Race was shit for betting. It was definitely a tough week, right? But that's, again, where are you splitting the hairs? Like, because you want it to be entertaining, but you also want it to be a good race. Sometimes little chalkier is better for the bets. Yeah, but anyway,
I will say,
on to Kansas, Rod.
Yeah, well, yeah, we're on to Kansas for sure. But I will say one thing as I wrap up all of the thoughts on our experience in Texas. The JDK says it would be nice if the racing made the race good instead of the cautions and chaos. And I said this before, and I've said this several times over, especially with my brother who brought me into racing. And now I said, if you are somebody who just watches NASCAR for the wrecks, well, you're in it for the wrong reason, because not all the time are you going to get the spectacular wrecks that make you go, ooh, ah. But not just that. Think about the time that it takes to clean them up. And somebody even said it in the Discord yesterday or Sunday when we were watching. Is like, Jesus Christ, how many caution laps do we have to run after a single car spin, right? That's the kind of stuff that makes it not fun to watch it for the wrecks, because wrecks destroy things. They don't cause any, bunches the field back up and it gives you a little bit more drama, but in the end, Cody, it doesn't do anything for you racing wise.
Yeah, no, nothing to argue there. I agree.
Beautiful. I love that my takes leave everybody speechless. So, all right, we are definitely on to Kansas, because that is where this next race is, the Kansas Speedway. Cody's going to be there. We're all going to have some fun. But in the meantime, there's still stuff going on with football. And guess what? Circa Resort and Casino in Las Vegas is giving away the ultimate fantasy football experience for a 12-person league to draft in Vegas and be treated like a VIP for their stay. I want everybody to enter this, because I want to be in everybody's league. That way, just in case somebody does end up winning, I can go and have a part of it. So if you have a league, invite me and then enter this, because one of you guys is going to end up winning, and I'm going to end up going to Vegas and drafting with you guys. So that's going to be fun. If you win, when you win, and I win, you get a 2-night stay at Circa Resort and Casino for their entire 12-person league. That's 6 double king rooms. We each get a king bed. You can't beat that at all. Hold the draft at the Cabana and Stadium Swim with a $5,000 food and beverage credit. Popping a lot of bottles for that one. Limo transportation to and from the airport. and a welcome party at Legacy Club for the entire league. A reservation at the world's largest sports book with $500 beverage credit for the league, which is about 20 minutes, right? Considering some of my friends, I know that it wouldn't last long. And you get a 2-hour open bar package for the league at the Overhang Bar. Woo! Contest is happening now, May 5th through June the 30th. And you want to enter this? Hell yeah, you do. Go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/circa. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/CIRCA. Your Edge Boost account is going to be heating up out there in Vegas. If you get one, which you got to get one, because Edge Boost is the first ever bank account built for bettors, ensuring all gambling transactions are approved. No usage fees, no minimums. You can earn cashback rewards and a 100% approval for all betting deposits. Go sign up today, right now. Right? No, now. All right, fine. Never mind. When you get a chance, at edgeboost.bet with promo code SGPN. Deposit $25 and Edge Boost is going to match that deposit. That's edgeboost.bet, promo code SGPN. It was a rough one the other day for my underdog picks. I tried to pick Max Verstappen to finish better than 3.5. He finishes in 4th. I tried to pick our good friend over there at the Racing Bulls to finish, Isaac Hadjar to finish 10th. He finishes 11th. Unfortunately, that's tough, but we'll rebound again this coming week with our Underdog Pick'em. Underdog just launched their new game ladders. You can win up to 500 times watching your favorite players climb the ladder. Go sign up with our promo code RACESGPN. You're going to claim your special pick and first-time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus credits. It's UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code RACESGPN. Was that a good race? Gluck poll. Just kidding.
51%, Ron.
So, well, I mean, yes, Texas was, but I'm talking about, the F1 race. Although I didn't get a chance to watch IndyCar yet. It's still on tape.
Yeah, I was in and out on F1. We had another busy softball weekend and stuff, but I need to actually go back. I've seen the highlights, but I'd like to actually watch the full race.
Yeah, I want to see how that all unfolded too. I mean, I know ultimately who ended up winning because you can't scroll on Twitter anymore without so many spoiler alerts. So, anyways, all right, we are on to Kansas for this AdventHealth 400 from the Kansas Speedway. Yeah, right. That's where we're at.
Kansas Speedway. That's where we're at, Rod.
This is what sucks. As I'm sitting here, I have a couple of tabs open that I always have open. And then I just close everything, and I'm like, oh, yeah, I'll get back to it in a second.
Well, while you look for the race details, I'll tell you about the entry list because
Please
there is 38 cars on the entry list this week. Got your 36 regulars, of course, and then Jesse Love returning in the 33 car for RCR, and Corey Heim is back in the 67 for 2311. I noticed in every market, his odds are better than teammate Riley Herbst, who is full-time at 2311. They're interesting. Thought from the books there, and 2311's obviously been really good here, as has Corey, which we'll probably talk a lot about him tomorrow. But yeah, it'll be exciting to see. These are two, probably future stars of NASCAR. Heim, I think, I think it's going to be hard to argue that he is a future star because he definitely is. And Love seems well on his way to that as well. Potential. There's been a lot of talk about, is he warming up for one of these two seats over at RCR next year or in 27 potentially? We could see it.
Tell you what, though, I was so disappointed that his day ended the way it did. Sunday. It was just so frustrating because he actually, I knew he wasn't going to be like a top 15 car, right? We just knew that. It's very difficult to ask that of a guy like Love, especially in the equipment that he's in. But I thought a good, solid top 25 would be in his, and then he just kind of crashed out. So it was tough. I'm not hating that. I definitely loved him better in the Xfinity Series, but yeah, be fun to watch him again. All right, we are set for 267 laps around this 1.500 mile paved track for 400.5 laps around the Kansas Speedway in Kansas City, Kansas. Yeah, Cody. I mean, how far is it from you? Are you?
It's right at 3 hours, so not bad at all. Our buddy James Rowland, we're gonna carpool down there and hang out for the weekend. So have a little company with me, which will be nice. And we're gonna tackle the drive Saturday afternoon because it's no Xfinity this week, so it actually works out nicely. The trucks are Saturday night, so we'll be there for that. And then, yeah, we stay overnight, jump up, and head over to the track bright and early, be there all day Sunday. So, if you're not following us on YouTube, go over to YouTube right now, hit the subscribe button. I'm going to be trying to put a bunch of videos out there, just stuff from the track. I got media passes, so we'll be all access in the garage, down on pit road during the race, all of that stuff on the track pre-race, all of those things. So going to try to have tons of video stuff out, pictures out like that. So yeah, follow us on the YouTube at NASCAR Gambling. Click that subscribe button. And then on X as well, at Husker_Zeeb for me, at NASCAR Gambling for the show. I'll be putting out as much as I possibly can from the track because it's always a really fun experience when you get to see that up close and personal.
Credential qualifications just opened up for Sonoma today.
Oh, buddy.
I'm on it, my friend. This is going to be fun. So, all right, let's start.
Real quick before we get in, the chat's going crazy. We love it. Keep it going. Experts Suck is newer to NASCAR. And they got their own podcast over there. Go check those guys out. They do a pretty good job. And their thing is going against the experts, which I guess in this case we're the experts, Rod. So I'll take that. But wants to know, is Larson going to be the favorite in every race going forward? For the most part, yes. Larson is the greatest race car driver in the world. I know JDK in the chat will agree with us. He's definitely on that bandwagon as well. Okay, maybe not, but it's fun to be able to say things when they can't talk back. And he's really good. He's in a good car. If it's a non-super speedway, so like Talladega, Daytona, Atlanta, those races, he won't be the favorite, most likely, although he's probably going to keep creeping down on those with his performance lately. And then Chicago street course in Mexico, you might get like SVG as a favorite, but Larson's going to be one of the favorites for sure. So just get used to seeing Larson there about every week because they're going to get fucking hammered anywhere if he's not the favorite, essentially.
Indeed. Yeah. And definitely he'll be a favorite in Sonoma where Brian and I are going to be meeting up. So looking for you there, Brian. That'll be a lot of fun. All right. Let's set up these bets then for the AdventHealth 400 from the Kansas Speedway. Cody, where are we going first?
Yeah, boy, top 10 market is juicy this week. I love me some top 10s this week, Rod. I'm going to start off with Chris Buescher, top 10 plus 130. Didn't get the result that you would have wanted last week at Texas. And so to back it up again, I guess, to kind of set it up, right? Kansas is 1.5 miles. This is actually the first track we've come to this season where we have an identical twin to look at and be like, okay, what did they do for me? And that's Las Vegas. So Las Vegas earlier this spring, Kansas, these tracks are almost alike completely. They're, in many, many ways, they're alike completely. Obviously, we've also got Texas to look back last week as an intermediate 1.5 mile track. It races very differently. The grass is not going to be an issue here at Kansas like it was at Texas. Some things different, but still intermediate race, like you get the point, that type of thing. But Vegas is a true comparison. And then obviously we've got our 6 Kansas races to look back on as well. But starting with Chris Buescher here, plus money once again for Chris Buescher. We've talked about Chris Buescher a ton of times. Didn't get the result last week, but arguably had one of the fastest cars in the field. There were kind of different points in the race, and maybe this was more track position than anything, I suppose. And that could be the argument against why maybe it was a good race. But you didn't really know who the best car was. Well, I think Tyler Reddick had the best car, but he never really got to show it. Unfortunate for my outright bet. But Buescher was a very fast car. He was kind of up there throughout the day. Looked good. Ends up 18th at the end of the day. I don't remember what happened to him. There was a lot of things that happened in that race, Rod. So I don't remember exactly what happened to him. But he had a fast car. That's what I was looking for, was Chris Buescher there. You look back at Kansas, 11th place here in the fall, 2nd place here last spring, led 54 laps, closest finish in NASCAR history. Yeah, if you guys have been not liking the races the last few weeks, Kansas has been, I'm not saying arguably, I'm not saying maybe, it has been the best racetrack in the next-gen era, hands down. It's delivered time and time again on all these races. It's been good racing. I expect that once again. It's high tire wear, and it's a tough track. It's a fast track. I'm glad that it's the close track to me because I love going there. But last spring was that race. I mean, we had to break out the magnifying glass to see who actually won the race, and it was Larson. But Buescher right there in second place. Results kind of before that, so, but so was RFK before that, so, right? We've seen it more the last couple of years. And as we kind of talked about in the open, Ford has shown a lot of speed this year. I really like that. So I'm all aboard the Chris Buescher train. Once again, at plus money is kind of crazy. Also kind of crazy that they're giving us Zane Smith top 10 at 10-1. What are we doing here, Rod? Go back and you look last week, 17th place at Texas. Okay, that's fine. 23rd at Vegas. You'd like to maybe see a little bit more from him there, but that is what it is. You go back to last fall here, and in 10th place was Zane Smith himself. Actually, we hit his top 10 bet here in the fall because at the end of back to the Zane Smith thing, last year, beginning of the season, sucked. Was bad. Oh, that's what it was. Thank you, Matt. Buescher did blow a tire when he was running like second place last week at Texas. But anyways, Zane Smith, not good in the spring, 29th place. Like it was rough over there at Spire. That's what ended up being replaced later on. But down the stretch, especially on the 1.5 mile tracks, we saw Zane Smith start clicking off those results. We jumped on his top 10 a couple of times. This was one of the tracks. Good here last year, got it done. I don't see why he couldn't get it done again. You go look at some of the comparable tracks. Michigan, also a very comparable track to this. 7th place finish there last year. So great run. He was 16th in the fall at Vegas. Again, you're close enough to the top 10 at this number that those are numbers that you like to see. So give me Zane Smith 10-1 for a top 10.
I don't hate Zane Smith at that price. I really don't, because again, he's one of those guys that you forget until you don't, that he's actually one of the drivers capable for a top 10. And then he'll park it there and you're like, man, I really wish this is the week I was on Zane Smith, and you should be on him just about every single week because it feels like more often than not, he's going to get you there, except on a rare few occasion.
Yeah, I mean, he's a guy that you could really, and I think there's a couple guys in the Discord that do, you could bet on Zane Smith top 10 every single week because he does give you that opportunity just about any given week, and you usually get a pretty good number on him. So definitely one of the tracks I have circled for him, especially when the bet cashed for us last year here in the fall. So kind of one of those things where, let's go back and get a little more of that if we get the opportunity, and they presented it to us at this number.
Yeah, they did, and we're going to take advantage of that for sure. All right, speaking of taking advantage of stuff, I'm going to take advantage of the red-hot momentum of one Joseph Logano. This is not going to be a very popular one because Chase Elliott has been very good here on this track, and he's been this season. It's been a roller coaster ride for Chase Elliott, just like it's been for Joey Logano. But you just gave Joey Logano a win, right? So I'm going to take Joey Logano over Chase Elliott, minus 115 over on BetMGM. They're the one with this one. And again, this has been sort of, like I said, just that roller coaster of a season. He's only got 2 top 10s and 11 starts, including the win last week. His only other top 10 out there was a Martinsville 8th place finish. Outside of that, his average finish is 18th, and I understand that, and I get it. And then if you look at his finishes here at Kansas, it's 34th and it's 14th last year in the spring and the fall. But 2023, in an odd year, by the way, 6th place and 5th place finish for Joey Logano. Now, here's the funny thing about it, right? So we talk about even year Logano. The last few seasons have been better for him in the odd years. 2021 in the fall, he had a 9th place finish, but in 2022, 2 17th place finishes. And then in 2023, like I said, that 6th place and that 5th place. And then in 2024, a 34th and a 14th. So whatever that even year magic is for Joey Logano championship-wise, reverse that in Kansas, and he's actually better in the odd years on this track than he is on the even years. Chase Elliott, on the other hand, he's got 6 top 10 finishes, which you said is model consistency. Absolutely. Average finish is 11th, but 2 of his last 3 finishes have sort of left you scratching your head. 15th at Bristol, 16th last week. And that's the one that's more concerning to me. The 16th last week at Texas, because it did not feel like that 9 car had any speed whatsoever. There was just nothing there. It started 29th, right? Yeah, he moved up to 16th. That's fine and all well, but there was a lot of points in there where Chase Elliott was just not on pace, and it wasn't even looking like he was a factor in it at all. Earlier this season, 18th at Miami, right? 10th place at Las Vegas. So not really glaringly, yeah, he's in the top 10 consistently, but for some reason, there's just not the kind of speed that we're used to seeing out of the 9 car this season. Kansas, actually 4 top 10 finishes for Elliott here over the last 4 races. So good, right? A 7th place, a 6th place, a 3rd place, and a 9th place. We're talking top 10. We're not even talking top 5. 1 top 5. So we're talking top 10 speed. And I think both of these guys are going to have it this season, or this particular race. But I'm going to give the edge to Joey Logano, who managed to find his way into victory lane last week. So give me Logano over Elliott.
Yeah, Elliott or Logano winning last week makes me feel like he's due to run with Jesse Love in the back this week, but we'll see how that goes. I would like to defend Chase Elliott a little bit. 3rd best average finish this season, only behind 2 of his teammates in Larson and Byron. So I know you said an season, Rod, but it's not been that bad.
Well, okay.
That being said, I'm just done trying to figure out Logano. I'm done with it, Rod. I don't know what to do.
Well, it's funny because a lot of times we see with our eyes, right? And we tend to just make decisions with what we think we see until we go deep down into the numbers, which is why we do what we do. But it's funny because, yeah, when you look at Chase Elliott, he's not blaring you down with top 5s. He's not giving you top 3s. So in the comprehension of what's going on, you're like, oh, Chase Elliott's had a bad season, because you expect him to be winning races. You expect him to be fighting for wins at the end of the race, right? And you haven't seen that out of Chase Elliott. And it's just, you forget because you're used to seeing such excellence out of him, and it just hasn't happened this year.
Yeah, and just to give the other side, because I looked at this matchup and I wanted to take the Elliott side, but I'm not going to go against Logano again after it didn't work last week. But the thing with Logano, unpredictable. Sure, sometimes he'll win like last week, but sometimes he also sucks. Elliott is just always going to be there, like 11th place or so is where he's going to be. Sometimes that's all you need in these head-to-heads. But again, I'm done trying to figure out Logano.
Yeah, indeed. All right, let's get to one question before we head off the break. Esper Susse, what do you think on Tyler Reddick? I'll tell you this.
Let me love Tyler Reddick this week. Right?
Yes, and so do the books. That's why his numbers are to the point where it's almost unbettable for a lot of things.
He's probably going to come up in the DFS show, would be my guess this week. I absolutely love Tyler Reddick. I was on him last week, and I think I was right in being on him because he did have the fastest car at many times throughout that race. It feels a lot like this is going to be the week. I have a hard time going back-to-back on the same guy in a couple of weeks. And when we get to the outrights, like, I'm only going to pick one of the favorites, and there's another favorite that just is screaming to me to take this week, even though looking at the numbers, I should pick Tyler Reddick, but I'm just really feeling this other guy. So, I really like him. There was a couple places. I mean, you could definitely the outright if you want him to be your favorite that you take. The fastest laps, most fastest laps market, I think he was 9-1 is what I saw or something like that. I know you hit on that last week. That might be a place to get in on him again. But he did not make. He didn't make your card at all, right? Hopefully, I'm not.
No, and I'll tell you why real quick. Because if you look at his average finishes, and our friends over at iFantasy Race, obviously we love those guys, so go check them out. iFantasy Race has him 19th in terms of the next gen average finishing heat chart. So his average finished 20th in the last next gen era. So 30th, 35th, 9th, 1st, 20th, 25th. So 4 really bad finishes.
He's so much like Kyle Larson in that Kyle Larson can go out there, kick anybody's ass any given week, but he also steps over the line and has those mistakes a lot. But Reddick has that same ability to be great. He's not as good as Larson is at this point in time, but he's also not harnessed as well that going too far and fucking it up. And he does that a lot. And that's what makes it hard. And that's where he's one of those guys who could come out and just lead every lap in this race, kick everybody's ass, and you're going to be like, okay, yeah, we're not really that surprised. But also, he could go out there and then he makes the pit road mistake or this or that, and you're like, there's Reddick just fucking it up again because it happens. So, yeah, that's what makes Reddick kind of tougher on a week-to-week basis. Trying to pick and choose your spots with him is tough. And even that's betting Larson as the outright favorite too, as the favorite every single week. Obviously we can come on here and just make the case for why Larson's going to win because that's why he's the fucking favorite. But when do you bet him? When do you not bet him? That's when it gets tricky as well, especially with the favorites.
Yep. And then we'll just wrap up the Tyler Reddick thing with the contrast is this. He is 4th overall in total speed rankings, right? So he's fast, but he doesn't finish the way he should on this track. So something about it. I mean, last year or 2 years ago was a good year for him, but the other ones have not necessarily been.
That being said, I'd be very happy to be in victory lane with that 45 car.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, see, you could do that too, because 2311 is fast at Kansas as well. All right, let's come back with more of our bets, but I'd like to take this opportunity to tell you about Rhythm. Rhythm is your home for AI-backed picks and props. You could dominate the NBA playoffs and MLB prop market with Rhythm. Building your own model is simple and easy, and Rhythm knows you'll love it. That's why they included a 7-day free trial. Loving me building some models about how many home runs Aaron Judge is going to hit, not just for game by game, but for the rest of the season. And Rhythm is definitely helping me out doing that. And they've got some amazing deals going on right now. 25% off a monthly subscription with promo code SGPN25 and a 50% off an annual subscription with promo code SGPN50. That's RITHMM, promo code SGPN25 or SGPN50. Get your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. We're also brought to you by mybookie.ag. MyBookie.ag is right there. That's the one. Is your place to bet on every single sport, including NBA playoffs plus props for every game. For the true D-Gens, the MyBookie money bag. MyBookie accepts customers from a ton of locations. You get easy deposit and lightning fast payout using crypto. Go find yourself some Aussie rules football bets over there on mybookie.ag. Also, go find yourself some darts. I've got some fun Premier League dart bets that are coming up, so make sure you go over there and check those out on mybookie.ag. So head to mybookie.ag, promo code SGPN for a 100% deposit match up to $1,000. Terms and conditions apply. That's mybookie.ag, promo code SGPN.
Cousin Danny would like to know where he can bet on Brad Keselowski to DNF. I believe I saw that at minus 40,000 somewhere. So best of luck with that.
Poor Brad Keselowski. And you know what? I said it too. I said it was not. And then all of a sudden he comes out and he's like, "Oh, I'm having a good day. Oh, I'm having a good day. Oh, I'm not." And that was frustrating.
And then he wasn't, Rod.
And then he wasn't. All right. Well, then who's going to have good days at Kansas?
Well, welcome to Dylan Squared. I'm going to go to the top 10 market once again here and start with Austin Dillon. Top 10, 6-1. Rod, Austin Dillon finished top 10 last week, the week before, and the week before. 3 in a row, top 10. Now, yeah, all different tracks, all different styles, Texas, Dega, Bristol, but been running pretty good. You got the 23rd at Darlington in there, 18th at Martinsville, but 13th at Miami, intermediate track, okay. 32nd at Vegas, not exactly what you want to see, but even 12th at Phoenix, like, to speak to current form and how his season is going, there's been a lot of talk about his teammate, Kyle Busch, not getting things done, spins out from, what was he, second place this week when he spun out or something, and just things not going his way. Austin Dillon very, very quietly just kind of keeps getting it done. 3 in a row. I'm going to ride that momentum. You go back to the fall here, finished in 12th place, had a good run. It's not always good here at Kansas. 25th last spring, 33rd in the fall of 23, but May of 23, he had a 10th place finish here. September of 22, a 14th place finish here. May of 22, 13th place finish here. So if you look at those 6 next-gen races, in 4 of them, he's been 14th place or better. I like that. And if you go pre-next-gen, 10th in 21, 10th in the other 21 race, 11th in 2020, had another 11th in 2018, 6th, 8th, like some really good runs by Austin Dillon here. Love the current form, and he has looked good. Speaking of current form and things that I love Ty Dillon. We're going back to the well. We got it at what, 12-1 last week for a top 10? 20-1 this week. There is no put some respect on this man's name. I understand. Ty Dillon has not finished inside of the top 10 all year. So I get it. But at 20-1, he just finished 12th place last week. Yes, there was a lot of chaos. There was a lot of carnage, running good and solid all damn day long, and just kept keeping it right in that range, right there with a shot at the end. That's what you're looking for. 16th place at Darlington, intermediate track there. 21st at Las Vegas. Only 11 spots away in Las Vegas, and he's 20-1. He has been having the season of his career, really. It's been the best season that he's had. And then you look at his stats here that I had pulled up. Speaking to your closing all these tabs deals, I just did the same thing. It's not been bad, and that's not the greatest vote of confidence for a bet, but he's been in crap cars, like last year in the fall in the 16 for Kaulig, 21st place finish. It's not horrible. 28th and 22nd for Spire. A couple of 20th place finishes in the Petty GMS stuff. Even back in the Germain days, like a 15th place, a 16th place, a 14th place. Ty Dillon just goes out and runs his race. He's not going to be on TV. They're not going to talk about him. He's not going to be involved in the wrecks most of the time. He is just minding his P's and Q's. He is a good race car driver. If you go back and look, he had a lot of success in the lower series. Things haven't really worked out for him in the Cup Series, but you could also say he's never really got a chance. Like, he didn't get brothers treatment. Like Austin, the favorite grandson, for whatever reason, got put in the 3 car. Ty's never got a chance to run with RCR. Some races here and there, yes, but like full-time actual opportunity in the Cup Series, he hasn't. He's bounced around, but it's been working out good. AJ Allmendinger's been having a good season. I know you're going to talk about that in a few, but these Kaulig cars in a Cup Series, at least, not so much in the Xfinity Series. Oh my God. But in the Cup Series, they've obviously been putting their focus there. It's been doing well. So give me the Dillon brothers to be in the top 10. Austin at 10-1. Tyrone at 20-1.
Well, you are absolutely correct, Cody. I'm going to talk about Ty Dillon's teammate, and that is AJ Allmendinger. Let's put both Kaulig cars inside of the top 10, shall we? Probably not a far-fetched plan to get there. He is at plus 500 over on BetMGM, but if you have Bet365, run. He is at 7-1 over there for a top 10 finish is AJ Allmendinger. Allow me to read you a couple of other intermediate finishes for young AJ Allmendinger this season. Las Vegas, 8th place. Homestead, 7th place, right? Those are 2 solid finishes on the type of track that we're looking for to get top 10s. In fact, 2 of the 3 have been on that type of track configuration. And we know AJ Allmendinger is the road course king, right? We know that he is a super road course guy in Xfinity. We know he's a contender every single year in the Cup Series for the road courses, but he's still a decent enough mile and a half driver. He's still a pretty decent super speedway driver when it comes to the Cup Series as well. It's just, look, the reason that he's 7-1, the reason that he's 5-1 is that he hasn't done it in a Cup car lately. He hasn't finished better than, I'd go 14th rather, in a few years. A couple of 8th place finishes in 2016. He did have a 14th place finish in this 16 car last spring. And that's sort of where I'm hanging my hat on right now, in that he was only 4 spots shy. And last season for AJ in the Cup Series, or 2 seasons ago rather, in 2023 rather, that was the season where, that was the beginning of the end for his 16 ride, as they were about to ship him down into the Xfinity Series full time, right? And then they're like, oh, wait, by the way, we want you back again. So he's got a lot to prove, and he's been hanging around at the top of the charts for the last few weeks, just sort of poking and prodding his way into the top 10, like I said, at Las Vegas and Miami. And then, last week, he started 10th. He rolled off the grid 10th, which means he had the speed to be a top 10 car. In fact, he was running around the top 10 until he got collected on that lap 172 crash. That was heartbreaking for AJ because he was having a pretty solid day. Cody, a lot like you said, just this unheralded sort of, I'm hanging around. I'm just kind of keeping the equipment right where I need it to keep it. And then, of course, sometimes you just can't help who spins out in front of you and you smash right into, unfortunately. So that's what happened to AJ. Took him out of contention for what could have been a top 10 day in Texas. So AJ Allmendinger, like I said, my spirit driver, the guy that I pretty much love more than anybody else out there, want to see him in the top 10 again, especially 5-1. That's a hell of a price for AJ Allmendinger.
Yeah, I love this. Obviously, I just sang the praises of Kaulig and what they've done in the Cup Series so far this year. We know AJ is a great driver. He has been for a long time. He's a veteran. And like you said, another guy that just minds his P's and Q's. And that's something you really like in a guy you bet on. Like, that's another thing that can make a guy like Hocevar hard to bet on at times because he is a bit of an uncorked cannon. And maybe if you just let Priest go there, you could still survive and get the fucking top 10 of plus money that you had all day.
There's no maybe, Cody. There is no
Rod.
maybe. If you would have just
he would have finished in the top 10, and I was gonna be so happy.
He knew he had a faster car. There was no reason to push the issue there. None.
But that's, he's learning through those mistakes. But you don't get that in a guy like you don't get that in a guy like AJ. So I do like that. Ash from across the pond checking in saying on the Logano versus Elliott thing, people gush over Elliott. Yes, I do. Thank you very much. Always the most popular driver. He is that. Logano gets plenty of booze from what I hear, but Elliott has a 37 race winless streak. Logano can get to victory lane. I mean, yeah, there's no arguing that. And then wants to know, does Chase Elliott get less criticism than others, even though he's on a 27 race winless streak? The Logano thing is weird because Logano is one of the greatest drivers of this generation, unquestionably. I mean, 3-time champion. There's only so many people in that group. Look at his age. He's fucking young as shit. But took over for Tony Stewart at 18 years old. He's been in the series forever. He's accomplished so much. He's got 36, 37 career cup wins now. He's so inconsistent I guess that's maybe where the criticism comes from, because he can win any given week. But then you can also see him battling with BJ McLeod, and you're like, that's last year's champion? Like, what's going on back there? So that's what's weird. But, I mean, he obviously can get it done and get the wins. Elliott, I just don't know what to make of it. Like, the new car, 2022, they come in, he gets 5-6 wins. He's won a championship before, and he's the most consistent driver on a regular basis. He just doesn't have the over-the-top speed and doesn't win a lot. I don't know what it is, but I think he gets a fair amount of criticism, but I think his fan base is so big and they can be sensitive. So I think people back off a little bit on him there, but I don't know. It's interesting, kind of the two dynamics, I guess, that go into those two drivers. And you get the consistency out of one, the other one you get the inconsistency, but you also get the peaks with the valleys. So which one's better, I guess? I don't know.
Sometimes love is blind, Cody. You just don't see what's right in front of you, but that's all right. All right, where are we going next?
Well, Rod, I'm a man of my word. We talked about Josh Berry last week on the DFS show. You took his under 12.5. Congratulations to you on hitting that. And I said that I agreed with you, and I said that I wasn't convinced. I hadn't seen enough, and I thought that we were jumping to conclusions, and I think that I was wrong. Now, the pick was right because he finished in 32nd place, but there's some fucking speed in the number 21 car. So give me Josh Berry, top 5 at 5-1. I don't want to give out another top 10, although I would have felt much more comfortable with that probably. So you could definitely check that out as well. But I like the top 5 for the number and for the possibility of what we've seen with this. Las Vegas, the most comparable track, right? He goes out and he wins in a Wood Brothers car on 1.5 miles, gets it done. Only needs to lead 18 laps, some stuff late that happened there, but put himself in position and gets it done. Then last week, that 21 is just out front, setting sail. He leads 41 laps. He's having a great day. I don't remember exactly which incident he was involved in, but he was involved in one of the incidents. And the result wasn't there, but the speed was there. And I would say, really, if you look at the Penske camp, and we're going to include him in the Penske camp because we know it's a Penske car, right? Joey Logano wins the race fast at the end. Blaney was hella fast throughout the day. Cindric looked good early on. And Berry was fast. So they obviously, Ford last year was lagging behind in the 1.5 miles, especially Penske. They figured something out, and Berry's done a good job. And if you just look, he leads 41 last week. He led a couple laps at Dega. He led 40 laps at Martinsville. He led 18 laps at Vegas, where he got the win, of course. Led a couple laps at Miami. He led some laps at Atlanta. Like, Josh Berry, man, I've always kind of been down on the guy, but I saw what I needed to see last week, and the result wasn't there, which probably helps us get better odds this week. I was hoping for a bigger top 10. I was hoping for a bigger outright because I was going to pull the trigger on one of those. They did give him some respect there for sure. But I think with this top 5 number, if he comes out and has the car like he did at Vegas, has the car like he did last week at Texas, you could just see Josh Berry wheel his way to a top 5. And I've been impressed with what I've seen there. So Berry's definitely on my radar now. Give me the top 5 at 5-1.
And his pit crew's really been keeping him in the game too, as well, which is other than getting nailed in the pits. That sucks. That's going to take you out of it right there. But that's not his fault. That was just dumb luck. But yeah, I mean, Josh Berry, he is one of those guys where, again, right? You look at the finishes and you're like, man, Josh Berry, blah, blah, blah. But you got to pay attention to the speed as well. Bad luck is bad luck, right? Sometimes putting yourself into bad luck is also bad luck. But I do know that guys like Josh Berry doesn't go out to look for those types of situations. He doesn't put himself in those types of situations, and he gets rewarded for it more often than not.
Dirty Rig 22 had the 100-1 on Berry at Vegas. Still surviving off of that. It's a hell of a hit. We're not going to unfortunately see those numbers probably for a bit on him, but again, like I feel like he's proved himself to me, and that's what I said last week. I needed to see it again, and I saw it last week again. Result, didn't hold up, but you saw it during the race. That's what you're looking for.
Indeed. Speaking of seeing something during the race, I'm taking Ross Chastain right back to the well, top 5. He's at plus 325 over on Bet365. Or if you don't have that, he's at plus 225 over on BetMGM. Look, Ross Chastain, obviously he won here last year, right? He won in the fall race of last year, and he looked good doing it. 52 laps he led in that one. In fact, in the spring race, he led 43 laps in that one, starting from the outside pole. Unfortunately, did not get it done, finished 19 than that. So he's definitely been a speed monster around here. How much so, you ask? Well, in the speed rankings charts, right? The Kansas NASCAR Next Gen Speed Rankings heat chart, according to our friends over at iFantasy Race, Ross Chastain is 3rd on the list behind Denny Hamlin and Christopher Bell with a 7.5 speed ranking in the next gen era here on this particular track. And he's been able to translate that into good finishes, like I just read off to you. He's actually 8.7 in his average finish. That puts him the 4th best driver in the heat chart. 7.75, 13.9, and a win. I mean, that's the thing about Ross Chastain, right? He's 2 7th-place finishes in 2022, a 5th-place finish to start 2023, and then 13th and 19th, a couple of bad races there, but rebounded last year to actually win this. So then what have you done for me lately, Ross Chastain? Well, he finished 2nd in Texas after a race where, look, he started 31st. Nobody gave Ross Chastain a chance to do anything good. Oh, I'm sorry. That was me. Nobody except for me gave Ross Chastain a chance to actually do good things in this race, but he and his team kept fighting all race long. We saw so many good cars just crumble, where Ross Chastain, restart after restart. Here's Ross Chastain, top 15. Here's Ross Chastain, top 10. Holy shit, Ross Chastain, top 5. What? Ross Chastain, top 3. Guess what? That's where he finished. And that goes to a 6th-place finish in Martinsville, 7th place at Darlington, 7th at Bristol. More importantly, 5th in Las Vegas. So telling you right now, Ross Chastain, Ash saying that he's plus 450 over on Boveda for a top 5 finish. Jump on that now. That ain't sticking around. And I think Ross Chastain has a really good shot at being fast on this track again. So give him a top 5 at whatever number you can find it.
Yeah, Ash shopping all the numbers. Because I pointed out some Zane Smith numbers over there as well earlier when I was talking about that. But so yeah, if you've got that, definitely look into it. We kind of talked about this in the Discord. I don't know, I'm not sold completely on Chastain, but boy, he's got the results at the 1.5 miles. Won here obviously in the spring. So yeah, that's hard to argue too much with that. Andrew checking in, wants to know if we've already talked about Riley Herbst's top 10. We haven't. What did Riley Herbst finish last week? Because I played him in a couple of my fantasy games. I was feeling good. I was feeling the 23-11 love, and I feel like Riley Herbst did not finish very good.
He did not, in fact.
Where did he finish?
Riley Herbst finished in
14th. That's not too bad.
Yeah, but that's after all these cars DNF'd.
Well, that's still a finish round. No, we didn't. Although we did mention at the top of the show how Corey Haim better odds than Riley Herbst and everything in the same cars, which is interesting for sure. Riley Herbst was not as much of a factor in the Xfinity race as I had hoped last week, but right there at the end, maybe if we could have got just, I hate to say one more caution because we got enough cautions, but had a chance. Anyways, all right, Rod. I'm going to go to that top manufacturer market that I love so much. And Ford, I kind of mentioned this earlier too. I like a lot of Fords this week. Looking through the Fords, I am just like, oh, I like this Ford. I like that Ford. I like this Ford. And I've talked about a couple of Fords. I got a couple of Fords in my outrights. There's a lot of Fords I like, but there is a lot of unpredictability in Ford. There's a lot of things. While there is a lot of different guys you like, there's a lot of guys that are inconsistent. There's a lot of things that go crazy and go wrong. And that does open up the top Ford market. We've kind of talked about it all year long, right? And it was more before of like, I didn't really like any of the Fords that much. Now I'm liking them more, but still on a week-to-week basis, is Joey Logano going to win? Is he going to race for 35th? Like, you just don't know, right? And so I think that does leave a couple of guys here to take shots on. I'm going to start with Austin Cindric, 12-1, and Zane Smith at 75-1. I've already talked about Zane Smith, top 10 here in the fall, and been pretty good on the mile and a halves. For Zane Smith to hit at 75-1, you're going to need a bad day from Blaney. You're going to need Buescher to have an issue. You're going to need a little bit of help at the top for sure. But as we've seen, and we saw this with Toyota last week, right? Denny Hamlin blows up early. Then this guy has a problem. Then Tyler Reddick's in a wreck. Then that guy has a problem. And suddenly, I mean, Bubba ended up with an issue. Who did end up being the top? It was Eric Jones was the top Toyota last week with the 5th place finish, which nobody saw. Even I didn't have that on my long shot card. But that just speaks to the point of, even though last week, like, look how fast Reddick was and Bubba was good and Denny, but it ends up being Eric Jones. That's what I'm thinking in the Ford market here. So Austin Cindric, don't look at his Kansas results, Rod. They are not good. I'm going to preface this with that. 34th, 37th, 31st, and 31st. That's his last 4 races here at Kansas. Just cannot stay out of his own way. I don't know what the problem is. But before that, 12th and 11th place finishes in the next gen era. So had some good runs. I don't know what's happened the last few times, but I'm overlooking that because I think that Austin Cindric is kind of coming into his own right now. And we kind of talked about this leading into the season. Time to shit or get off the pot, right? We know the talent's there. We saw it in Xfinity. Now you're this 4th season here of being in this car full time. Like, you got the Daytona, and now he's got a win checked off the list, right? He won at Talladega a couple weeks ago. They can gamble a little bit. Looked good last week. Starts in 3rd, leads 60 laps. Again, he was fast. The 21 was fast. The 22 wins. The 12 was fast. They all looked really good. So I like what I saw there. 11th place run at Darlington, intermediate. 6th place at Vegas, led 47 laps, to the point of, this is the same track, Vegas, Kansas. It's close enough to a copy that we can look directly at it. He's had a really strong season. I've liked what I've seen out of him. And I think at 12-1 with, Blaney minus 115, which I can't blame him for that. I like Blaney up there. Buescher plus 550, Logano plus 550. Don't worry, I already made the top 10 argument for Buescher earlier, right? But numbers just aren't quite big enough. This is another one. I looked at Barry plus 750. You could play it. Keselowski somehow at 10-1 at this point in time. Not sure. Priest at 16-1 is a little bit juicy too. I looked at that, but it's kind of just wide open in the Ford market. So give me Cindric at 12-1. Give me Zane at 75-1. And then Toyota, it's the same thing. Just talked about it. This is where I had to get in on Tyrone Gibbs, Rod. You think I was going to go to a race in person and not have a bet on Ty Gibbs? You're absolutely wrong. Love me some Ty Gibbs. I'm going to take him top Toyota plus 750. Again, looked fast, looked good last week. Result not there. Slips back to 23rd. I get it, but there was a point in the race where he was running 2nd place to Kyle Larson for a little while there before some stuff happened. 3rd place at Bristol a couple of weeks ago, 9th at Darlington, 13th at Martinsville. Had some good runs down after a bit of a rough start to the season. Things didn't necessarily start great, but they're getting better. You look at what he's done here at Kansas, and he 5th place here in the fall. Do I need to say much more? I mean, 5th place could be the top Toyota. Now, we could see Denny Hamlin win this race and Tyler Reddick be second and Bubba Wallace be third and Ty Gibbs be fourth and Christopher Bell be right there. All those guys can be good. But if they have problems and Denny Hamlin blows up early and Tyler Reddick gets in a wreck and Bubba Wallace has a problem and then this happens and Eric Jones suddenly is the top Toyota, that could easily be Ty Gibbs as well. Plus 750, I think the number's right.
No. I'm still not riding. I'm not riding the Gibbs or the host of our train at all. So
Andrew, by the way, said he hit the John Hunter Nemechek or the Jones bet last week. Bet him and John Hunter Nemechek top Toyota every week. I love it. And Hunter checking in saying it might be Chris Buescher's week. Well, we already talked about him top 10. Stay tuned because might have more thoughts on him here in a few.
Spoiler alert. All right, you look at the fastest cars around this track. A lot of those names come from the Hendrick Motorsports stable. So Caesars gives us these fun little team triples, and I think I'm going to roll with this one this week just for the hell of it. 16-1 for Kyle Larson to win this race, William Byron to finish in the top 5, and Alex Bowman to finish in the top 10. Again, that is 16-1 on this one. Look, if you look at all this, I mean, obviously Kyle Larson, one of the fastest guys on this track. He's 8th in the speed rankings heat chart for next gen, and he's 2nd in terms of average finishes onto this. Second place in the spring of 2022, second place in the spring of 2023. So he's been second place 2 springs before, and then 2024 he actually won this race right in the spring. So he's definitely a very fast car around this track. Just like we talked about at the outset of the show, he's one of the favorites every single week because he just can get it done. He just wins races. That's what Kyle Larson does. Again, he's a spring winner here. And what's crazy about those, you look at this track, and it's tough because I didn't give him as a complete outright because it's been 6 races since there's been a repeat winner. Ross Chastain won in the fall. Kyle Larson won in the spring. Reddick won in the fall of the year before that. Hamlin, Bubba, Kurt, Kyle Busch. Like it's been a very, very roller coaster race for outrights. So can Kyle Larson do it again a second spring in a row? I think he can, but look, he's been in the top 3 in all 3 of the next gen spring races here. So I consider it pretty easy for him to do that again. And this time punch through for a win. I know he's had some hard times lately, but he's Kyle Larson. He'll push through and he'll figure out a way to do it. William Byron, on the other hand, we talk about how fast he is all the time. He is 5th in the finishing chart heat race here. So 10.8 is his average finish, a second place in the fall of last year, a second or third place finish in the spring of 2023, and a 6th place finish in the fall of 2022. So hovering around that top 5 area for the last few next gen races here at Kansas. And then Alex Bowman. I mean, look, we talk about him every week being one of those consistent guys. He is 2nd, tied with Kyle Larson in terms of the average finish heat chart for iFantasy race. A 9th place, a 4th place. Didn't race in that 2023 spring race because of the broken back, but 10th, 7th, and 6th. So he is 5 for 5 in the next gen era, finishing inside of the top 10. Look, I mean, if you're gonna give me that combination, and unfortunately Elliott's not on that list because I don't, again, it's kind of tough to take Elliott as a top 10 finisher. But like I said, Larson to win, William Byron top 5, Alex Bowman top 10. It seems like a really good combination for a team triple.
Wow, the people Rod hates list just continues to grow deeper. Now he's got a deep-seated hatred for Chase Elliott for some reason, even though not involved in this bet. Felt the need to bring him up. King also pointing out that you're not on board with the Ty Gibbs bet. Shocker, he says. It's all right, King. We want to let him keep doubting as I'm chugging Monster energy drinks in Victory Lane. It's going to suck for Rod. So just how it goes. Oh, wow. What timing, Danny. I'll tell you. It's great. It's amazing to me. The odds the books continue to give out on Alex Bowman. Great value. I could not agree more. The chat's been all over it. These guys all the way at the top of the show talking about Alex Bowman, trying to spoil the car lift. That's right, friends. It's the Alex Bowman car lift. Give me the top 10 plus 130, the top 5 plus 375. Win the race 22-1. Alex Bowman is a 1.5 mile guy. Alex Bowman loves Kansas Speedway. Going into last week at Texas, 7.5 mile top 10 finishes in a row. Got spoiled last week. That's all right. He's going to get back on it this week. 35th place finish. Look, he started 11th. He was going to be up front early, gets involved in a wreck. Shit happens. You really can't look at that too much. But you go back, what's he done for me this season? It's been a bit of a rough stretch, right? 4 of the last 5 races, he's been 27th place or worse. That's not great. But before that, 2nd at Miami, 7th at Las Vegas, 7th at Phoenix. I like all of those things. You look at Kansas, only 5 starts here in the next gen era. He did miss one of the spring of 23 race with his injury, but 6th place here in the fall, 7th place last spring, 10th place here in the fall of 23, 22, a 4th place and a 9th place. All solid, strong finishes. You go back to 2020, 3rd in the old car, 3rd place, 8th place, 2nd place, 9th place, 7th place. Alex Bowman loves Kansas Speedway. In 2022 race here, by the way, he led 107 laps on his way to that 4th place finish. I believe that was a late caution that really cost him the chance at winning that. But I really, 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 really like Alex Bowman a lot this week. I love the top 10 of plus money for Alex Bowman. If I could place one bet this week, that is the bet that I would place. I love it so much. But top 5 car, he could certainly have that. Could he go out and just win this race? And are we due? Doesn't it feel like we're due for, oh shit, there's the Alex Bowman race. He just comes out, leads a ton of laps and wins. We're due for that this weekend. And I would not mind celebrating with the 48 car in victory lane this weekend either, Rod.
Hey, listen, that 48 car, I love seeing that 48 car in victory lane, no matter who's driving it. So I'm with you on that one. And look, when you're 5 for 5, I've used the analogy before, and it just holds true. If I punch you in the nuts 5 times, are you going to duck the 6th time? Because I've done it every single time. That's Alex Bowman. He's done it every time he's been on this track in the top 10 here.
Yeah, he's been great here and just great at 1.5 miles in a general sense. Again, these Hendrick cars, it's all about Larson. It's all about Byron, and they do have the best 2 average finishing. NASCAR Insights shared today the best average finish through the 11 races. It's Byron, it's Larson. Elliott's right there. Bowman didn't actually make the list, but usually he's one of those guys because always consistent, not usually the fastest car, but always consistently right up there.
Indeed. All right. Well, then I am going to give out my winning car number bet of the week, as I tend to do. I hit half of it last week, right? I hit the over 21.5 on it, but I was 2 cars short of the 24.5 on the outside of that. So, yeah, I mean, look I love it. I'm going to go back to the well again. This time, I'm going to take the under 11.5 for the car number plus 165 over on Caesars. You already know who it gets you, right? It gets you the best drivers in the world out there. It gets you Kyle Larson, gives you Austin Cindric. It gives you Ross Chastain. If you think Austin Dillon is going to be fast this weekend, it gives you him accidentally. I wanted to throw Noah Gragson somewhere in the top 10, but I couldn't pull the trigger on it. It's just been so tough. He's such a talented enough driver to get there. It just hasn't had the equipment underneath him to get there. If you think this is a Brad Keselowski week, get you Brad Keselowski. If you think it's a Kyle Busch week, it gets you Kyle Busch. It also gets you Chase Elliott, so it'll shut me up and stop hating on the guy. Plus, it gets you the top 10 perennial contender and Ty Dillon, but it also gets you Denny Hamlin. So for me, what this really does for me, it gives me 3 really, really, really solid drivers on this track in Ross Chastain and Denny Hamlin, Kyle Larson. And it also is a way for me to cover myself with Chase Elliott, who I didn't necessarily put on the card altogether, right? And then, of course, Kyle Busch, again, another guy I wanted to work into the card, couldn't figure out a way to get him there. This is the way to get him there. So there's some really good options under 11.5 this week, and I'm actually going to make a case further for one of these guys in the outrights. But, yeah, I love the fact that this is plus 165, and it gives me 3 of the fastest drivers on this track when you look at the heat finishing heat chart, right? Hamlin is 1, Larson is 2, Chastain is 3, and Elliott is tied for 5th. So that's 4 drivers out of 5 under this number. So I like it. Give me the under 11.5 for the winning car number.
I looked at this one because I was like, ooh, plus 165, like that kind of jumps out to you. But then you just look over this number and you see the 12, you see the 17, you see the 20, you see the 45, you see the 23, you see the 77. So many cars over this, Rod, but you're getting a great group of guys under that number. And a plus 165, the number certainly is good. So hard to argue too much with that.
Hold on, King. King says Rod will take Noah Gragson, but shits on Ty Gibbs. I'm done. Where's the entertainment value? Do you want me to have just a race where
Are you not entertained?
Like, if I just went along with everything everybody said, where's the entertainment value? I got to draw the line somewhere, right?
When he wins this week in Kansas, just think about how Rod will have to come on here and be like, oh my God, Ty Gibbs is so good. I got to give it to him. Like, he's going to have to eat the crow. It's great. Love to see it. I'm excited for that. Laura checking in. Hey, Laura, good to see you. She says, bad luck for Noah. He has had some bad luck. I got to dig out the video of him. Who did he throw punches with a couple years ago at Kansas? I was on TV right there by the fight, Rod. Who was it? I can't remember who he was fighting.
Sam Mayer?
No, because it was.
I feel like Sam Mayer's everybody's fighting partner.
It does feel like that. It was a cup race. He was in the 42 at the time.
We'll have to look.
Yeah. We'll have to
all right, I'll look for it.
I think it was Chastain, actually, now that I think about it.
Might have been.
All right, here's my outrights, Rod. Loaded up a little bit this week. I'm excited. Hopefully, I'll be celebrating victory lane with one of these guys. Bowman, obviously, just talked about him at 22-1. But Tyler Reddick, I wanted to get in on him. I was going to take him to be the winner, but I just kept finding my way back, and I could not stop coming back to Mr. Ryan Blaney. This is Ryan Blaney's week, plus 650. That car has been the fastest fucking car all season long. He has had so many good races. He has looked so good, and things have just kept going wrong. Things have just not fallen his way. That is done. That ends this weekend. I think we're going to see Ryan Blaney and that number 12 car in victory lane this week. He's plus 650 pretty much everywhere, and he's actually the second favorite here this week. And I think it's because you saw the speed last week. You saw how fast that car was. I know that he wasn't able to get it done. He wasn't able to get up there. But a third place finish, like, it's not like he had a bad day, right? Got a good finish. And he started to click some off. He's got 3 top 5 finishes in the last 4 races. We saw him have a lot of speed at Miami. 124 laps he led there before getting in a wreck and finishing in 36th place. Just the bad luck has come back to him. But each and every week, you're like, fuck, that 12 car's fast. Fuck, that 12 car's fast. And the other shoe keeps dropping. The other shoe's not going to keep dropping with Ryan Blaney. It ends this week. I think he is going to be the winner. 4th place finish here in the fall. 12th, 16th, 9th, 12th are his other next-gen runs. Not overly great here, but I think he's due. I think this is his time. And something kept bringing me back to him, so I'm going to take him. I'm also going to take him most fastest laps over on DraftKings. 9-1. I like that number as well. Chris Buescher, 22-1. He's coming back with revenge on his mind. Lost by the closest finish in NASCAR history last spring. 22-1 for a car. Last week, he was so fast. Again, the result wasn't there, but sometimes that's a blessing in disguise. We got to see they're showing up at 1.5 miles with a fucking fast car. Sure, he didn't get the results, and so the books kind of brush it off. Then they give us 22-1 the next week. When he shows up and he's fast this week, and everybody's like, oh, wow. Well, remember, he was just fast last week just because the result. You can't just look at the result sheets all the time. 22-1. I like it for Chris Buescher. Speaking of not just looking at the results sheets, Rod, this is my redemption week. That's right, Rowdy. This one is for you. Rowdy Nation's getting laid this weekend, Rod. 30-1 for Kyle fucking Busch. He was going to win this race in the fall last year. He spun out from the lead. I understand that there's a little bit of a pattern here after he spun out last week, but it's over this week. He's due. The results have not been good, and he just keeps shooting himself in the foot. And I know JDK was pointing out in the Discord, like, well, speeding penalty here, this, there, that here. And a lot of it's stuff. It's driver errors, and he's messing up, and things are going wrong. Kyle Busch, still one of the greatest race car drivers in history. This is his week. 30-1. Austin Dillon, 3 top 10s in a row. He's had good runs. The cars are not bad. Kyle just needs to get things out. And we saw last week, like, he had a shot. He looked legit. It wasn't the fastest car in the world, right? But the way things stacked up, he put himself in position, had a chance. The same thing in the fall here at Kansas. He just got in the bad aero spot behind Briscoe, spun himself out from the lead. It seems like every time I've been to Kansas ever, Kyle Busch has always spun out. So probably going to spin out at some point during this race, but he's going to climb back to the top. 30-1 to win. And then Austin Cindric, 50-1 to win, to round it out. I talked about him earlier as well. He has been fast. These Penske cars look good. These Fords look good. At 50-1, sure, you can look at the last 4 races where he's finished 30th or worst place here. I get it, right? That doesn't look good. But at 50-1, it's worth a shot based on the speed we just saw at Texas, based on the speed we saw at Las Vegas. Penske Fords won both of those races, both mile-and-a-halfs we've been on. Barry at Vegas, Logano last week. Cindric led over 45 laps in both races, looked good in both of them. 50-1, longer shot than Barry is even. I get it. Barry won, obviously, at Vegas earlier, but I won actually in a Penske car. I think he's worth the long shot. So Blaney plus 650, Buescher 22-1, KFB at 30-1, and Cindric at 50-1.
I love the Blaney one for sure. That's the one I couldn't. I'm glad you pulled the trigger because I wanted to, and I was just like, man, it's just been so hard lately to really back him. And I know my daughter's heart gets broken every time she sees the 12 car spinning out. So, it's tough, and I didn't want the heartbreak. But what I do want is it is the year of the villains. Apparently, if Joey Logano gets a win this week, guess what? Denny Hamlin should get the win. If I'm writing the script, I'm giving Denny Hamlin the win this week at 8-1. His name is cemented all over the fastest player. He's got the most wins of all of the active drivers on this track with 4. He's got 16 top 10s. He's riding a streak of vicious top 10 finishes, 7 in a row as far as top 10 finishes. He had a streak of 9 broken up by 2 bad finishes in 2020 and 2021, but he won back-to-back in 2019 in the fall and 2020 in the spring, but 5th place in the fall of 2021. 4th the following race, 2nd, 1st, 2nd, 5th, 8th. Denny Hamlin, damn good at this track. Denny Hamlin is best in average finish as far as the heat chart is concerned. Denny Hamlin, the fastest car around this track, especially for a 3-race stretch between 2023 and 2024. I mean, look, like I said, if I'm writing the script, if I'm NASCAR, if I'm sitting there going, all right, who can I get the most bang for my buck out of this week? It's Denny Hamlin to win this race. And for him, the guy that's as fast as he is, and I don't even care what he's done this season because Denny Hamlin has done bad and good at various parts of any season, and he can still come out and rip out a win because he's Denny Hamlin, right? This is not a rookie that's going through a rough patch and, can pop up in the top 10 every once in a while, and then you go and you bet his win and whatever. No, this is Denny Hamlin, right? This is the guy that can come out and do what he can and win races just to spite people, it seems like sometimes. And I think that is what we're in for. He talked a lot about the racing on his podcast, which may be where he's best at nowadays. But that's where we're at with this, right? We're at the villain portion of the season where I think Denny Hamlin deserves to be in the spotlight, getting all the boos that Joey Logano got last week. So give me Denny Hamlin at 8-1 to win this race.
That's where we're at on your story arc, Conrad.
That's where we're at. We've hit the high point where we've had a lot of heroes and underdogs, and now we're at the part where the bad guy's starting to get ground, right? And you're like, boo, bad guy. And then all of a sudden the knights in shining armor will come in the next few races and get your Ty Gibbs win if that's really what you feel like.
There you go. Ash asking the question is which Cardone I want to see in victory lane. I know I did say I wanted to see a lot of them. If only Corey LaJoie was racing, that would be the most ideal. But, I'll be pretty happy with most guys celebrating a victory lane. They're ideally somebody that I'm betting on. So, and like I think being there for like a Ty Gibbs first race win would be really fucking cool. So, storylines like that you're really pulling for. But not too many guys on the hate list at the moment.
Indeed. All right. Well, then it is time to go over our favorite bets for this weekend. And I'm going to vamp. I'm going to vamp because I got the picks, but I didn't upload them into the server. So as I'm uploading them into the server,
I'll
give me 1 second.
I'll keep talking with the chat here. Ash was saying we spoke a few weeks ago, but the spring fall races, would that be the same for Kansas? So some races like Darlington specifically is the one that really jumps out the most, like really hard to look at fall and spring together. It's different race distances, different things going on, but Kansas is pretty much the same. Like it's both races are 400 miles. So it's the same distance. The weather's a little different. Like it's probably gonna be a little warmer for this one than I think it was October and a little cooler last time, but it's high tire wear either time. There's not really any big differences in Kansas. So this is definitely one where you can just look directly at the fall race and compare it to the spring race, I think.
Okay, Indy, now it's time to get out your pen and paper. It's time to go over our bets for this. And, of course, for the YouTube crowd, get your screenshot ready as we go over the bets. I started you out with Joey Logano over Chase Elliott at -115. I went on to AJ Allmendinger as a top 10 car at 7-1. Added Ross Chastain as a top 5 car at +325. Took the team triple at 16-1. Larson to win. Byron top 5. Bowman top 10. And took the winning car number under 11.5 at +165. And Denny Hamlin to win the race at 8-1. Cody gave you Busher top 10 at +130. Zane Smith top 10 at 10-1. Austin Dillon top 10 at 6-1. Ty Dillon top 10 at 20-1. Josh Berry top 5 at 5-1. He said top 4 would be either Cindric at 12-1 or Smith at 75-1. Took the Bowman car lift all the way to the top 10 +130, top 5 +375 to win 22-1. And then Blaney to win the race and have the fastest lap. So Blaney at +650 to win the race and 9-1 for the most fastest laps in the race. He gave you Chris Buescher at 22-1 to win, Kyle Busch at 30-1, and Austin Cindric at 50-1 to win the AdventHealth 400. All right, Cody, that is it. That's the show, buddy.
That's the show. A little bit of a long one, but a lot of stuff to talk about today. Back tomorrow with the truck race. Cousin Danny says he's not touching this truck race. I would challenge you to listen to the show tomorrow. Let me change your mind. This race is going one direction and one direction only. And I think we're going to talk about that a lot tomorrow. So full episode for trucks because there's no Xfinity this week. So, and man, trucks have usually been one of our better ways to go. A little bit rough at the Demolition Derby we had at Texas, but I'm excited for this Kansas truck race.
Me too. All right, then, as we send everybody on their way to start filling out the cards, remind everybody where they can find you out in the real world.
Follow me over on the X at @Husker_Zeeb. You can find all my stuff there. Make sure you follow along this weekend. I will be live at Kansas Speedway, tweeting out a bunch of stuff over there. And then subscribe on the YouTube channel as well. I'll be putting some videos up over there.
Always a fun time when we get out to the track. So, yeah, make sure you're following the feed and make sure you're following Cody. And, join us in the Discord for all the fun as well. Follow me on Twitter at RJ Villagomez. Link in the about everything I got going on, whether it's here, whether it is in between media. Check out the back road. Seth and Elliott will be talking about all things Kansas this week. And then I got a lot of fun stuff that I've been diving into lately. Some Call of Duty, some darts, some whatever else that D-Gens love out there. So catch me on that one. All right, we'll see you tomorrow with trucks, ladies and gentlemen. Until then, let's go racing and let it ride.